I walked into a bank with $11 in my account and told the teller I was a millionaire. She believed me. So did her manager. So did the regional director, who drove 40 minutes in the rain to shake my hand. Nobody asked for proof. Nobody checked. Nobody even blinked. Because 3 days earlier, every single human being on Earth had lost the ability to lie. 8 billion people. Not one of them could speak a single false word. Except me. I was a nobody. A fired, broke, couch-surfing nobody whose only real talent was making things up. And in one night, that pathetic little skill became the most powerful weapon in human history. It started on a Tuesday, the day I got fired. My name is Rein, 24 years old, assistant sales associate at a mid-tier electronics store in Chicago. And I want to be honest with you about something. I got that job by lying on my resume. 4 years of experience I never had, a degree from a school I never attended, a reference who was actually just my friend Marcus doing a voice. I was good at it. I'd been good at it my whole life. My manager found out on a Tuesday morning. He printed the email, laid it on the desk, and looked at me like I'd killed someone. "You lied to us." I didn't argue. There wasn't anything to argue with. They walked me out through the front of the store, past every coworker I'd spent 2 years with, and not one of them looked up. Security took my badge at the door. It was raining. I didn't have an umbrella. I sat on the curb, outside a store I no longer worked at, in the rain, with $11 in my checking account. Marcus let me sleep on his couch that night. He didn't say anything about it. He just moved the laundry off the cushions, handed me a blanket, and went to bed. I lay there in the dark, staring at the ceiling, and I remember thinking one very specific thought. I wish I lived in a world where being a liar was a good thing. Then I fell asleep, and somewhere in the black behind my eyes, I heard a sound, a thin electric crackle, like a wire shorting out. It lasted maybe half a second, then nothing. I woke up at 6 in the morning to Marcus standing over the coffee maker. "Morning," I said. "I resent you being here," Marcus said. "I let you stay because I feel guilty, not because I want to." I stopped moving. Marcus kept pouring his coffee. He wasn't angry. He wasn't being cruel. His face was completely calm, like he'd just told me the weather. "What?" I said. "I said I resent you being here." He handed me a mug. "Do you want cream? We're out of cream. I'm going to say we have cream and then not give you any." He paused. His hand froze halfway to the fridge. His whole body locked up. His eyes went wide, then wider, and a bead of sweat rolled straight down the side of his face. "I can't." "You can't what?" He didn't answer. He just stood there in his kitchen at 6 in the morning, holding a coffee pot, breathing like he'd run up a flight of stairs. I should have paid more attention to that. I really should have. Instead, I took the coffee, said thanks, and walked out into the city. And the city was wrong. The first thing I noticed was a car dealership. Big banner across the front. I read it twice because I was sure I'd misread it. Certified pre-owned. Most of these have problems. A salesman stood underneath it, talking to a young couple, gesturing at a silver sedan. "This one's overpriced," he said cheerfully. "You could get a better car for less money about 2 miles that way. I'm telling you this because I have to." The couple nodded politely and walked toward the 2 miles that way. The salesman watched them go. Then he sat down on the curb and put his head in his hands. I kept walking. A billboard for a fast food chain. "Our burgers are fine. They are not better than the other ones." A campaign poster on a bus stop. "Vote for me. I am unqualified and I want the money." A dating app ad on the side of a bus. An attractive woman smiling, and beneath her the words, "I am mean to people and I do not intend to stop." Through the window of a bar, 6 men sat around a poker table. Every single one of them had their cards face up on the felt. They were still playing. They were still betting. They just weren't hiding anything, because it had not occurred to any of them that hiding was a thing a person could do. A man in a suit was on the television above them, at a podium, in front of 100 reporters. "I don't have an answer to that," he said. "I'm going to talk for 90 seconds, so it looks like I do." And then he did, and nobody in that room reacted at all. I stood on the sidewalk in the middle of Chicago, and I felt the ground tilt underneath me. Something had broken. Something enormous. And I was the only one walking around like it mattered. I needed to test it. There was a coffee shop on the corner. I went in, walked to the counter, and looked the barista dead in the eye. "I ordered a large coffee 20 minutes ago and never got it," I said. I had not ordered anything. I had never been in this building before in my life. The barista's face went white. Not pale, white. Like someone had reached inside her and pulled out something structural. "I'm so sorry," she said, and her voice cracked in the middle of it. I don't remember taking your order. I don't remember you at all." "You took it," I said. "You were standing right there." Her hands started shaking. She grabbed the counter to hold herself up. The manager came over, mid-40s, tired eyes, name tag that said Derek. "What's the problem?" "He ordered 20 minutes ago and I lost it," the barista said. "I lost his order. I don't remember any of it. Derek, I don't remember." Derek turned to me. He looked at my face for exactly 2 seconds. Then he looked back at his employee, and something in his expression came apart. "Are you saying he's wrong?" Derek asked her very quietly. "No," she said immediately. "No, he said it, so it happened." The entire coffee shop went dead silent. Every person in that room had turned around. 20 people, coffee cups halfway to their mouths, staring at me like I'd walked in carrying a bomb. Because in a world where nobody can lie, a spoken sentence isn't a claim, it's a fact. Derek made me the coffee. He refunded an order I never placed. He gave me a gift card for the trouble. And when I walked out, I looked back through the window and the barista was sitting on the floor behind the counter with her hands over her face, and Derek was on one knee beside her, and neither of them was saying anything at all. I had told one small, stupid, meaningless lie, and I had detonated 2 people. I went back to Marcus's apartment and I did not leave for 11 hours. I sat on that couch with a laptop and I read everything I could find, and by midnight, I understood what had happened. Human beings had lost deception. Not just lying, all of it. Fiction was gone. The bookstores had emptied themselves out because nobody could write something that wasn't true anymore. Acting was gone. Poker was gone. Sarcasm was gone because sarcasm requires saying a thing you don't mean. Advertising had collapsed overnight into a series of grim, honest confessions. Negotiation was extinct. You couldn't ask for more than you'd accept because that's a lie. So everyone simply stated their real number immediately, every time. The stock market had frozen. Not crashed, frozen. Because a market only functions when people disagree about what something is worth. And disagreement, it turns out, requires the ability to bluff. Every courtroom in America had gone quiet. Every defendant simply told the truth. The conviction rate hit 100% in under 48 hours. And nobody thought any of this was strange. That was the part that made my skin crawl. There was no panic, no investigation, no emergency broadcast. Humanity had lost one of its oldest, deepest capacities, and nobody had noticed, because you can't notice the absence of a thing you no longer have a word for. They didn't know what a lie was anymore. They only knew that when someone spoke, the thing they said was real. I sat there in the dark with the laptop glowing on my face, and I did the math. 8 billion people. 0 defenses. No skepticism, no suspicion, no fact-checking, because the concept of a fact needing to be checked no longer existed. And one man on Earth who could still say anything he wanted. I want you to understand something. I did not feel powerful in that moment. I felt sick. I felt like I'd woken up in a room full of sleeping people holding the only knife. But I was also broke. And I was also very, very good at this. The next morning, I put on Marcus's only clean shirt and I walked into a Chicago bank. I told the teller I was a millionaire. She believed me. I told her I'd been a client for 6 years and there'd been a clerical error with my accounts. She believed me. I told her I was considering moving $40 million in assets to whichever institution treated me best. The manager came out from the back room so fast he knocked over a chair. Within 20 minutes, I was in an office with leather chairs, being offered a line of credit by a regional director who had driven 40 minutes in the rain to meet me. He shook my hand with both of his. He apologized to me, repeatedly. He asked me no questions, not one, because the answers were already true. I had said them. I walked out of that bank with $200,000. The following week, I owned a car. The week after that, a condo. By the end of the month, I had a company, 3 employees, and a valuation that existed entirely because I had spoken it out loud in a room with the right people in it. I told a venture capitalist my revenue projections. He wrote a check. I told a landlord I'd already paid. He apologized for the confusion. I told a woman at a restaurant that we'd met before, at a gallery 2 years ago, and that she'd been wearing green. She frowned. She thought about it. And then she said, "I don't remember that, but you said it, so it must have happened." Her name was Ivy. She had dark eyes and a way of looking at people like she was reading fine print. She tilted her head at me across the table, and she said something that should have ended my entire life right there. "Your words feel different." I put my glass down very slowly. "Different how?" "I don't know." She studied my face like it was a document with a clause she couldn't parse. "When other people speak, the words go in and they just sit there. They're finished. When you speak, the words move." I laughed. It came out wrong. "That's a strange thing to say." "I know," she agreed pleasantly. "I've never said it to anyone before. You're the first." I walked home that night and I did not sleep, and I told myself it was nothing, and I was so busy congratulating myself on my own genius that I did not stop and ask the only question that mattered. Why would a woman who cannot lie describe the sensation of being lied to? I want to be clear about what I was doing. I was not a hero. I was a man with a loaded gun in a world that had forgotten what guns were, and I was using it to buy furniture. It took me 31 days to become one of the wealthiest men in Illinois, and it took me 32 days to realize I wasn't alone. I was watching the news, half asleep. Something about a shipping magnate found dead in his home in Osaka. Then a second story. A pharmaceutical CEO in Zurich fell from a window. Then a third. A defense contractor in Virginia. 3 men, 3 countries, 11 days. Each one had signed away enormous holdings in the week before he died. Each one had signed voluntarily. Each one had told his own family, on camera, that he was doing it because he wanted to. The anchor read it out flatly, without commentary, because in this world, a stated reason is a true reason, and there is nothing more to say about it. I sat up on my very expensive couch. Nobody could lie. So why was every single one of those signatures a lie? Somebody else was doing this. Somebody else was still able to speak a false sentence into a room and have that room accepted as the shape of reality. And they were not using it to buy condos. They were using it to take everything a man owned and then walk him to a window. Somewhere in the world, there was a second liar, and they'd had a 32-day head start on becoming a god, exactly like I had. Except I'd spent mine on furniture. 3,000 miles away, in a hotel room with the curtains drawn, a woman sat across a table from a man who ran a national bank. She had a folder in front of her. She hadn't opened it. "You are going to authorize the transfer," she said. "You already decided to. You told me last week." The man's brow furrowed. He searched his memory and found nothing there. And then he found the woman's sentence sitting where the memory should have been. And because he was human, and because he was one of 8 billion people who no longer possessed a defense, he simply nodded. "I did," he agreed. "I remember." He signed. She watched him sign, and she did not smile, and she did not gloat. And when it was finished, she stood and put on her coat and said very quietly to nobody, "That's 11. Then she paused at the door. "You'll forget I was here," she said. The banker nodded slowly. "I'll forget you were here." And he did. Within an hour, he could not have told you her face, her voice, or what she had taken, because she had told him not to remember. And in this world, a spoken sentence is not a request. It is the shape of what is real. She rode the elevator down 30 floors in silence. In the lobby, she stopped at a newsstand, and she looked at a small article on page 6 about a nobody in Chicago who had gone from $11 to $100 million in 31 days. She read it twice, and for the first time in 6 months, something in her face changed. Back in Chicago, Marcus found out what I'd been doing. He'd taken the train across the city to see the condo. He walked through the door, looked at the floor-to-ceiling windows, and he said, in that flat, honest voice everyone had now, "You stole this. I earned it. You said words and people gave you things." He looked at me. "That is not earning. I resent it. I resent you. I have resented you for a very long time, and I am only saying it now because I cannot stop myself." And then, because he could not lie, he kept going. He told me about his ex-wife, about the money he'd lost, about the man who had taken it from him, a man named Halbrook who ran a firm downtown and who had, over the course of 2 years, taken everything Marcus had by means of paperwork that Marcus did not understand. He told me about the worst night of his life, in a voice with no protection in it at all. He said it the same way he'd said we were out of cream. I stood in my beautiful, stolen apartment, and I listened to my only friend lay out every terrible thing inside him, because he had no choice, because nobody in this world had a choice anymore. The whole room went dead silent. Nobody could hide, not from anyone, not even from themselves. That was the day I stopped buying furniture. I found Halbrook in a glass office on the 31st floor. I walked past a receptionist by telling her I had an appointment. I walked past a security guard by telling him I was expected. I walked into Halbrook's office, sat down in front of a man worth $200 million, and I said, "You've been under investigation for 4 months." He went gray. "I haven't heard anything about..." "You wouldn't have. That's how it works." I leaned back in his chair. "They've already spoken to your CFO. They've already spoken to your wife." He was shaking now, both hands flat on the desk to keep them still. "What do I do?" he whispered. I told him. He did it. Every dollar Halbrook had taken from Marcus went back to Marcus that afternoon, plus interest, plus a written apology, plus a resignation letter Halbrook wrote himself, in his own handwriting, while I watched. When it was done, Halbrook looked up at me with wet eyes and asked, "Why are you being so kind to me?" And I realized, standing there, that he genuinely meant it. He thanked me. I got in the elevator, and I felt something cold move through my chest, all the way down. And I understood for the first time exactly what I was. Not a god, a predator in a world that had no word for predator. I went home. I opened my laptop, and I started hunting. If there was a second liar, they'd leave a shape. Not fingerprints, a shape. Because a lie in this world doesn't leave evidence. It leaves a hole where a memory should be, and 8 billion people politely filling that hole in with whatever they were told. So I stopped looking for lies. I started looking for holes. 3 weeks, 11 countries, 41 signatures that made no sense, 9 dead men. And every single one of them, in the final week of his life, had sat down with the same auditor, same credentials, same firm, a firm that did not exist. I traced her through 6 shell companies and a hotel registry and a car rental in Zurich. And on a Thursday in November, I found her. She was in Chicago. She had been in Chicago for 9 days. She was staying 11 blocks from my apartment. And when I finally understood what that meant, that she had not come here for a bank or a CEO or a signature, that there was only one thing in this city worth a 9-day stay, my blood went to ice. She wasn't hunting money anymore. She was hunting the only other person on earth who could see her. I stood up so fast the chair went over behind me. I grabbed my phone. I turned toward the door, and the doorbell rang. Through the peephole, standing in the hallway with her hands folded neatly in front of her, dark eyes, reading me like fine print. Ivy. She smiled. "You said we met at a gallery," she said through the door. 2 years ago. I was wearing green." A pause. "That never happened, did it?"